Hello, hello, hello. So today we are going to review everything that's linear. Now, it's been a whole 9 weeks since it's actually been a whole 9 weeks since we did anything linear. So I know some of you are like, linear? Like what? But we're going to go back and review it, and it's kind of hard for me to think about that right now because right now I'm recording this video and it's December right now when I'm recording this video. And so right now we're just finishing up linear. So I'm going to try to go slow. Yeah, let's start. So remember, for linear equations, there's 3 forms of equations. One of them is slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. This is our form that most of us enjoy more than the others. The big thing here is remember that m stands for slope. That measures the steepness of the line. This is your per in each phrase in a word problem. And b stands for the y-intercept. Right, that's like your starting amount, how much you start with in a word problem, your one-time fee, your deposit kind of thing. Okay, so in the equation y equals 3x minus 9, what would represent the slope? The 3, right? And remember, guys, it's not 3x. 3x is not the slope. The coefficient in front of the variable is the slope. And negative 9 would represent my y-intercept. If I wrote it like this, is that different? No, negative 9 is still the y-intercept. Positive 3 is still the slope, right? The slope is always multiplied to the independent variable in slope-intercept form. Then we have standard form. A lot of you by this time, at the end of the second 9 weeks, and again, I'm speaking, you're seeing this in the future, right? You're watching this in, February or March right now. But right now, as of now, most of you have this one. Man, y'all are on it. Some of you can stare at this, ax plus by equals c, tell me the slope, tell me the y-intercept, just by looking at the equation. And that is perfectly where I wanted you at this point. But remember, you always need to know how to go from standard form to slope-intercept form. So, for example, here's my equation. I can look at this and tell you that the slope is 2/5, positive 2/5, and that the y-intercept is negative 2. But you might have at this point kind of forgotten how to do that. So you should always know how to change it back to slope-intercept form. And when you're changing it back to slope-intercept form, you just want your y variable isolated. So to do that, I would subtract 2x from both sides. Hopefully this is ringing a bell. Negative 5y equals 10 minus 2x. Then y is not isolated yet. I have a negative 5 as a coefficient, so I need to divide both sides by negative 5. And when I do that, 10 divided by negative 5 will give me negative 2. Negative 2 over negative 5 is positive 2/5 x. So there's the y-intercept of negative 2. There's the slope of 2/5. Until you get comfortable again, I would rather you change standard form to slope-intercept form just to make sure, right? And I can always graph this on Desmos, only if it's in slope-intercept form. I cannot graph it when Desmos is in test mode. I cannot graph it in standard form. And then the last one was point slope form. Oh my goodness, every class was making me so happy because y'all were just, at this point, y'all were like spitting out point slope form equations and y'all were just rocking it. And I'm not going to say were, you are rocking it still, okay? So like, for instance, y minus 8 equals 1/2 x plus 2. If I gave you this, you should be able to tell me two things. You should be able to tell me the slope, and you should be able to tell me the point it's giving me. So m, of course, represents our slope. And the point that it's giving you is the x1 and y1. Notice the formula has minus signs. That does not mean x and y are negative. This is just in the equation. So if you see y minus something, that number is a positive number. But if you saw y plus something, then you know that number was a negative number because if you plugged in a negative, that minus negative would make a positive. So up here, the slope is 1/2. And the point that it's giving me, the x value, is -2. And the y value it's giving me, not the y-intercept, the y value it's giving me for a point is +8. Now remember, I can change this to slope-intercept form as well by isolating y. So I would need to distribute 1/2. That would give me y minus 8 equals 1/2 x plus 1. Add 8 to both sides, so I can isolate that y variable, giving me 1/2 x plus 9. Well, here's my slope, and here's my y-intercept, because I put it in slope-intercept form. So hopefully all this is ringing a bell because we did it for a whole 9 weeks. First 9 weeks and second 9 weeks. We spent that whole time going over linear stuff, okay? So just remember, standard form, change it back to slope-intercept form if all else fails. Point-slope form, change it back to slope-intercept form if all else fails, okay? On a graph, remember, there's two things I'm looking for usually on a graph. I'm looking for the slope and the y-intercept if I want to write an equation. Well, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So b equals -10. And my slope is my rise over run. So from one point to the next, I'm trying to figure out how much I'm rising, how much am I running. So I'm rising 1, running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a positive slope because this line is going up. So my rise over run is 1/5. This is my slope. So if I was to write this equation in slope-intercept form, it would be y equals 1/5 x minus 10. Because my slope is positive 1/5, but my y-intercept was -10. But what if I wanted to write this in standard form? Just remember that in standard form, let me change the color here. Oh, I thought I had like a purple. The numerator is a for the slope, and the denominator is b. And since the slope is positive, I know it's going to be a minus sign, so I know it's going to be 1x minus 5y equals c. Then I need to plug in a point. I can just use the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 0, -10. So I'm going to plug in that x and that y value. So 1 times 0 minus 5 times 10 will equal c. 1 times 0 is 0. -5 times 10 equals c. -5 times 10 is -50. So -50 equals c. So my equation will be 1x minus 5y equals -50. And what if I wanted it in point-slope form? That one doesn't require work, right? Find a point on my line. This point right here is at 5, -9. And my point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The slope is 1/5. And the point, the x value is -9. So if I was to plug in a -9, what's going to happen to this minus negative? Make it positive. And when I plug in a +5 to x minus x1, that'll be x minus 5. So it'll be y plus 9 equals 1/5 x minus 5. So this is really, it took us 9 weeks really to get to this point to be able to write all 3 equations and to feel really comfortable with it. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling more comfortable with that. And it's just coming back to memory. On a table, we have to find the slope, and the way to find slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So label your table x1, y1. And remember, it doesn't matter. I can make this one x2, y2. It doesn't matter, but it has to be a couple. I can't be like, oh, x2, y2, x1, y1. No, it has to be a couple. So I'm just labeling those random points. So that would give me 6 minus 3 over 20 minus 5. So that'll give me 3 over 15, which is 1/5. So here's my slope. Yay! And I did that extremely fast. Okay, and so I will slow it down if I need to. Rewind and look back if you need to. But then I need to find the y-intercept if I'm going to write this equation in slope-intercept form. So I can pick a random point. Right, this is an x value, this is a y value. This is my slope. And I can plug all that in to find my y-intercept. So 7 equals 1/5 times 25 plus b. 1/5 times 25 is 5. To get rid of this positive 5, what would I do? Subtract 5. 2 equals b. There's my y-intercept. So my equation would be y equals 1/5 x plus 2. If I wanted to do that in point slope form, and I chose this point, it would be y minus 7 equals 1/5 x minus 25, right? I just plugged in the x and the y and the slope. And if I wanted to do this in standard form, if my slope is 1/5, I remember I have to label that a over b. So it'd be 1x minus 5y equals c. I would have to plug in a point. So let's say I want to plug in this point. Smaller numbers right now. That would give me 5 minus 15 equals c. 5 minus 15 is negative 10. So my equation would be x minus 5y equals negative 10. Okay, so what I want you to do is starting to come back to you how to put things in slope-intercept form, how to put things in point-slope form, how to put things in standard form. Okay, we're reviewing a lot. All right, let's do this. Okay, Tavia went to an arcade where it cost $15 to get into the arcade and 25 cents for each game. If she gets the first 5 games for free, write an equation that represents this relationship. Well, if it costs me $15 to get in, I'm only paying this. This is a one-time fee. So this would represent my y-intercept. If I'm paying 25 cents per game, this would represent my slope. But here's the caveat. I get the first 5 games for free. So I have to take out those first 5 games.
Good morning, Fine Arts Academy.
Sorry about that. The announcements came on. So we have to get rid of these first 5 games. X represents the number of games, so I know that I need to get rid of it from the X, and Y is how much money I'm spending. So in reality, we would write the equation Y equals 0.25x plus 15. But we can't write that because that would be 25 cents for every game, including those first 5 games. So instead, I have to write x minus 5 plus 15. This will help me get rid of those first 5 games. If you're feeling like as you're watching this review, it's like super easy, please pause the video, do it before me, and check your answer, okay? That will benefit you the most. All right. There's 2 more slides, okay? So, the last thing that we learned at the end of the second 9 weeks was how to find the solution to 2 sets of equations. And what does solution mean? Solution means where they're equal, where they cross. If they never cross, then you know that those are 2 parallel lines, and those are no solution. If it's the same line, right, and it crosses on top of each other forever, that's infinite solutions. It's the same line. But if they cross one time, that is one solution. Okay? So looking at this substitution method, 2x plus 5y equals 8, y equals 2x plus 7. If y equals 2x plus 7, I'm going to replace this y value here with 2x plus 7, right? Because y equals 2x plus 7, so I'm substituting what y equals into that y. So that would give me 2x plus, all right, so 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 7 is equal to 8. So all I did was substitute this expression in for y, and I'm solving from here. Sorry, I had paused the video to speak with some people, so that's why it might have not lined up very well. Okay, anyways, so I'm going to distribute this 5. That's going to give me 2x plus 10x plus 35 equals 8. Combine like terms, so it'll give me 12x plus 35 equals 8. And then I'm solving, so subtracting 35 from both sides, giving me 12x, minus 35, minus 35. 12x equals negative 27, and then divide both sides by 12. X equals negative 2.25. And remember, I don't just leave this x, because x is not my answer only, or I need to find the point where they cross. So I would have to go plug in x, negative 2.25 back in for x to find y. So y equals 2 times negative 0.20. Negative 2.25 plus 7. So that'll give me y equals negative 5. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Negative 4.5. So that'll give me y equals negative 4.5 plus 7. Add 7, giving me 2.5. So the point where it crosses is negative 2.25, 2.5. The x and the y value. Down here is just a reminder that you can do this in Desmos only if they're both in slope-intercept form. So you could change this one to slope-intercept form, graph it, and see where it crosses as well. All right, and then there was elimination method. Our goal for elimination method is to get the coefficients the same and opposite signs. Well, if I'm just looking at the y values, they already have opposite signs, but the coefficients aren't the same. Well, this has a coefficient of 10, this negative 10, this has a coefficient of positive 5. Well, I can multiply this whole thing by 2 to get it to have the same coefficient. So 4x plus 10y equals 16. So I just went from here to here. Now they have same coefficient, opposite signs, and now I can eliminate. So x plus 4x will give me 5x. Negative 10y plus 10y cancels out. 7 plus 16 is 23. Divide both sides by 5, giving me 4.6. And again, I would have to plug this back into one of the equations, it doesn't matter which one, to solve for y to get my other value. Last thing is something that we've already done. What's the equation in standard form? ax plus by equals c is standard form. That has a slope of 2/5. How do I label a slope if I want in standard form? A over b. And goes through the point, negative 8, 7. How do I label a point? X, y. And I'm going to plug all that in. So 2x minus 5y, and it's minus because it's a positive slope, equals c. Plug in my x value and my y value and solve for c. So negative 16 minus 35 equals c. And negative 16 minus 35 is negative 51. So my equation would be 2x minus 5y equals negative 51. Okay? All right, so what you're going to do today is you're going to go through all these questions. We would play this as a game in class. But you're going to go through all these questions, solve them all. Okay? Make sure you show your work. And this review should have helped you literally answer every single question. All right, guys, y'all have a fantastic day.